Hey, how's it going, guys? It's Steve here, back with part 2 of our modern house tutorial series in Blender. Part 1 got us the outdoor modeling, I guess you could say, and the interior base walls. Part 2 now is going to cover some of the finer details on the interior. So we're going to be adding some table and chairs, kind of a fireplace back there, some sinks and counters over there. Should be overall a lot of fun. So let's jump into our house. Literally, I'm just going to hit number pad 5 and I'm inside. So what do we have here? That's our lamp. We don't need that lamp there. Let's get rid of it. Okay, so let's start with the kind of the fireplace stove that we have back against this wall. Alright, so I'm just going to place my cursor towards the bottom. This is some very simple modeling. It's just a, well, we can start with a cylinder, I guess. We'll start with the cylinder, scale it down quite a bit, something like that or so, and pull it upwards, right around to there. Looks good. Tab in edit mode, grab that up. Let me kind of see proportionately wise where we want this to be. That looks decent, I would say. So jumping back inside here, I'm going to grab our whole sphere, scale it down a little bit. But for the most part, that's about the right size. Put it against the wall. Let's grab that top one and extrude it and scale it inwards. And then this is going to be the stove pipe that goes out through the ceiling. Alrighty. Push that through the ceiling, and then let's just continue it all the way up. Why not? Kind of looking at a camera view. It has to be about 2 feet higher than the highest point of the house. And then we'll put a little cap on this. Why not? Make it look good. Make it look pretty. So I'm just going to Shift D that circle, scale it out, and then extrude it, pull it up, and scale it inwards. So we have the little vent cap. If you wanted to, you could grab some of these edges here. Grab the edge select. Grab some of these edges here as the little pieces of metal holding up that vent cap. Just extrude them upwards if you want to get fancy. But there you have it. A little vent cap on top of it. Let's scale it out a little bit more, just so it looks good. I like that. Yeah, and then you can see from camera view, it looks pretty nice. Maybe a little higher than it needs to be. Pull it down a little bit if you want. And there we have it. Now, basically the only other modeling I did on this was, well, let's first turn to smooth shading. So it looks smooth. Let's grab the bottom vertices here by alt-clicking it and extrude it down a little bit, just so we get rid of that nasty edge. And then I kind of put just 2 creases in it. 2 towards the top here. So we have a little tighter crease there, and then 2 towards the bottom, kind of where the door would be, you might imagine. That looks good. Grab it with Alt and then right-clicking until you get that ring. Holding Alt and right-clicking just on that seam. Gotta zoom in a little closer sometimes. There you go. And I'm just going to extrude and scale it along the Shift Z. Fancy stuff. There we go. Control Z a little bit, scale it a little bit more along the Shift Z. And put that kind of crease in there. Just a little extra detail. You might notice it, so it helps add a little realism. Extrude, click, scale along the Shift Z. Pull it in a little tighter. And then you could throw in some more edge loops here if you wanted to kind of straighten out that shading a little bit. Alrighty. And that is that. We'll put a different material on there for the door later, but that is essentially all we need to do. It still looks a little short and squatty, so I'm going to grab everything except for that top ring there, scale along Shift Z, like so, and then let's grab these all on top and pull it up a little higher. And then we can also move that creased edge around. I think it's a little low to the ground right there right now. So, something like that. Looks good. Whoops, it looks like I missed, or I accidentally moved some of these vertices with that. You don't want to do that. Got to make sure that the vertices in the background are unselected. And that looks about right. So now I can pull it up to about so. Okay, so there is our stove done and ready to roll. Ready to start cooking up some stuff in that stove. Now I'm going to build our... Well, let's build the kitchen table. No house is complete without a kitchen table. I like just kind of flying through the rafters up here. You see that? It's pretty cool. Okay. So tab out of object mode, and we're going to create a new object. I'm going to create a kitchen table. So I'm going to go Shift D, add in a cube, and there's our kitchen table. Okay, it's lovely, but not modern looking enough. I'm going to scale that down to something good like that. Let's hit period so we kind of focused on that cube. It makes modeling easier. And you know what actually might make modeling easier is if I just do this on a separate layer so we can always see it without the walls being in the way. So let's just move it to layer 2 actually. Let's just build our table right here, right now. And then we can move it back into our house once the construction is completed. So this is just going to be a simple kind of bench-like table. I'm just going to kind of scale it into a rectangle like that. Scale it along the Z. So we have kind of a 2x4. Scale it along the Y. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate this. So rotate it 90 degrees. Like so. And then hit tab and pull it away. Now I'm just going to add in a mirror modifier. The mirror modifier is going to make this table so much easier. So I can rotate it inwards now as it's matching it on both sides like that. Just like I want. Perfect. And I'm actually going to add in, let me see here, another mirror modifier, I believe is what I want. Let me just confirm, yes it is. So I'm going to add in another mirror modifier. Modifier mirror. And this one is not going to be the X, but the Y axis. And now I just have the tab and pull it to the left. Very, very good. We have that. Roughly what we want, I would say. Now I can continue using this mirror modifier to make life easier by adding in a cube for the center, scaling it way down, and this is going to be our support to hold the table. Scale it along the Z a bit, and then scale along the X a bit. Basically dropping it right in there between the boards. Perfect. Now one thing we can do is grab this, pull it over, and then enable clipping. And that just keeps it a little cleaner. Actually, it's clipping on that one, not that one. Perfect. Cool. So I am going to now apply, let me see, can I apply both of them? Yes, I'm going to apply both of these. And then I'm going to grab these legs and kind of rotate them inwards a bit. Something like that. And we can do the same here. I guess I probably could have done this with the mirror modifier. It doesn't really matter. We can get it pretty close just by eyeballing it. Very good. And now I'm going to want 2 of these for our table. So I'm just going to, well, let's tab into edit mode, pull it over to the right, add in a modifier, a mirror modifier. So we have both of them right, like so. And then for the table top, it's just going to be another cube scaled downwards, scaled along the Z nice and thinly, scaling the Z some more, scaling the Z a little more. And then from top view, I can just work this out by going scaling along the X and scaling along the Y until it looks good. Now I'm going to choose clipping, grab that edge, and pull it over. All right. All right. That looks very good. I'm going to grab that end face, extend it out just a little further. And there's our table, guys. It's kind of rough, but it's kind of cool. I like it. One thing is, I think these legs might be a little too rotated outwards. So I'm going to grab both of those now. Keep that in mind. Rotate it up a little bit. Pull it in. Grab both those. Rotate it up a bit. Pull it in. And then I did add another little brace here, which was kind of cool. So I'm just going to do that again real quick. Rotate it 90 degrees along the X. Well, Control Z that. Instead of doing it that ways, I'm just going to add in another cube. So Shift add a cube, scale it down. No, we need to turn off clipping. Then we can turn it back on. Scale it down though to about so. Scale along the Y. Very good. Scale along the Z. So we have these little braces, and they just add a nice little touch to the realism. So you can really go as far as you want with this, guys. There is no limit to the amount of detail you can add to your scene. Trust me. No limit. So I'm going to go ahead and duplicate that now to the other side. Because I applied a mirror modifier, I need to do it manually. No biggie. Just rotate it, and we're good. We do have it mirrored on the back there. So that looks pretty decent, guys. Let's move our legs here. I'm just going to hit L, grab them all. Let's move them in a little tighter. Very nice. And then grab that face and pull it in a little bit too. That looks good. Now let's put it in our house. So I'm just going to move it back to layer 1. Jump to layer 1 here. And you can see it's not exactly sitting on the floor. But, and it's a little baby table. It's a tiny little baby table. Let's just scale it up to about the size of a table. Looking good. Perfect. And we have our table. Now, you guessed it, it's time for some chairs around that table. Okay, so for the chairs, well, we're going to do it again on layer 2 because it just makes life a little easier. I think this tabletop is off a little bit. Maybe not. Let me see, top view. Yeah, I guess it's, well, no, it is off. It is off. What am I thinking? Needs to be right around there. Very good. So I'm going to do it again on layer 2, but I kind of want to work with the table for scale. So I'm going to move the table back to layer 2 now, and I can kind of build my my chairs around it. All right. So for the chair, I'm going to use a lot of array modifiers to make life easy. But as well as that, I'm going to use a circle, and I'm going to give it a pretty low vertex count, something like 12, because these are going to be small rods. This is kind of a fancy table design, and it's kind of made out of thin bended rods. So let's go ahead and tab into edit mode, move it away from our center origin point, and then add in a mirror modifier. Let's do it along the y-axis there, and so we can see, ta-da, we have it mirrored. So first and foremost, let's do the feet. Feet are most important. So scale it down, tab at edit mode, and extrude. Whoa, extrude. Whoa. Hello. Vertices select because they're not faced. All right. Extrude. Extrude up to about there. Although, let me scale it down a little bit more still because it's a little too big still. All right, that's looking better. I'm going to extrude it up to about here. And then, let me see here. I'm just kind of checking my my other table design. Okay. So we have both feet coming up to there. Now, the way it kind of works, I'm just going to kind of wing it. I don't know if this would be like perfectly functional. I probably wouldn't sit on this chair, but we're going to make it work. All right, so I'm just going to Shift D those vertices now. Rotate down to something like that. And now I'm just going to extrude, grab it, extrude, grab it, extrude, grab it, rotate it, up, and extrude. Something like that. There's our seat of our chair. Very simple. Shift D it again and rotate it so we can then extrude it down for our feet again. Kind of using this gray line here as the floor. You can see we have that. Very good. Now I just kind of want to go to the sides and pull those feet out a little bit. Something like that. Alright, now these also need to kind of, well, in the back here, let me grab this row. It obviously goes upwards, so I'm just going to Alt-click that. There we go. It obviously goes upwards for the back. So I'm going to extrude, kind of rotate it, so I can kind of start that off on the right track there. Whoops, not like that. Okay, perfect. Extrude it upwards like so. And then switch to side view here, where I kind of extrude, and rotate. Like that. Extrude, rotate. I just close my toolbar there. And extrude one more time, and then meet in the middle. Turn on clipping so that we can, whoa, we can clip it together, hopefully. Let me just see if I can. Right there. Perfect. Alright, so we're going to want to enable smooth shading on that as well. And that is the basic shape of our chair, I guess. Yeah, that doesn't look bad. Doesn't look half bad at all for considering how much we winged that. So now I'm going to, we'll just grab the bottom vertices there again. Shift D them, pull them up to be, well, we got to move them into place here a little bit. Right around there is going to be where I want them. So just grab them up to there, grab them up to there. Alright, and then I'm going to rotate them around, and I'm just going to extrude them until they meet. Perfect. Now I'm going to add in like 2 more cuts here, and just kind of bevel this down as well. Kind of give it a little sag, make it look like it's a little bit more comfortable. Cool. I could probably sag that even more. Maybe even scale it down a little bit. You don't want it to look too fat. Thinner and more elegant is kind of the key for this. Alright. Whoa, not those. Not you. Alright. Something like that. And then hit L to grab the whole shape and just kind of drag it into place right there. Cool. Pull it back a little bit, and then Shift D it to the front. It kind of comes down a little bit in the front, but that is okay, because, you know, a normal chair probably would. Alright, so there is our framed in chair. Now, for the body of this chair, well, this might be messy. I'm just warning you guys right now. Really, we only need to grab a handful of these vertices. So I'm going to grab the inner ring here. Perfect. Inner ring here. Control Shift clicking. Perfect. Inner ring here. Well, the table's kind of in the way. Right there. Alright. I'm going to Shift D those. And scale them in just slightly. Alright. Now we kind of want to make faces out of these. So I'm going to merge these two here. Alt M. Merge at center. Very good. And then here two. Yeah, these two here. Alt M. This time I'm going to merge at last because I selected this vertex last. Okay. And then that is already all set up. Alright, awesome. So now I'm going to hide my frames so I don't have to worry about those. And that one as well. Hide you. I'm just going to make this a solid object. So from top view, extrude it out, extrude it out, extrude it out. Okay. It's okay. Not too bad. And then I'm going to be grabbing these in 4s and facing them in, just like any sort of hard surface modeling. 2 more here. Cool. Now I need to kind of start going upwards. So I'm going to kind of rotate around here, extrude there, and then I can go all the way up to there, extrude. Okay, now I'm going to need to kind of extrude, and extrude, and something like that. So I'll go ahead and start facing these off. Face off, face off. These 4 here. It's important if you want better modeling to keep it in faces. Doesn't really matter in this case, but this is kind of a principle I like to try and follow. So I will do so as much as possible. Alright, and we're making good progress here. Let's just grab the center vertex. Extrude, extrude, extrude. Alright. And then, I guess we have to do this one too. Extrude, extrude. We can kind of smooth these out later. And then I don't need that last one, so I'll just Control Z that. Alright. And then face off. Grabbing all 4 corners and just hitting F on your keyboard. Very good. Whoa, that's a triangle. I got 2 vertices here. Alright, we need to merge those. Very good. Okay. We got just a few more faces to go. And it's looking nice. The normals are kind of messed up. But when we're done, we'll recalculate all those, so we don't have to worry about that. Okay, now I'm just going to go by 2s. It'll speed us up a little bit. Grab both those in the center, extrude, and then extrude them up this way. Swoop. Right around there, yeah. Very cool. Grab those 4, face them off. Grab those 4, face them off. And then we just have this top part here. I'm going to go this one, this one, this one, that one. And then this one, that one, that one. And it actually worked out okay. We made it through, guys. We did it. Alright, so unhide this now. I'm just going to kind of grab the perimeter, scale it up now to match the edges. Very cool. And then at the end here, they need to be moved around a little bit. Proportional editing. Turn it to connected. That will help us out a little bit. Just use the scroll wheel to control the amount of it. Okay, okay, okay. Pull these 2 out. Looking pretty nice. Whoops, not you. Thank you. And there we go. So now, like I said, we can smooth this out by going smooth shading, tapping at edit mode, and recalculating the normals and just shading UVs there. And that actually looks pretty decent. So there's our chair, guys. You can kind of come back now and add in some more vertices to give like the back a little bit more sag to it or something. But now that we have the basic shape, that is it. So this actually turned out alright. What could have been a train wreck looks pretty decent. I know I should have more confidence, but, you know, prepare for the worst. And that will do it. So with that chair done, it looks to be about the right scale, I'd say, as well. These feet need to come in a little bit, I'd say. Something like that. Alright, we'll worry about the materials later. Might want to kind of pull out at this point a little bit. Something like that. Kind of looks good. Alright, so we'll add the materials later when we do all the other materializing. But for now, I'm just going to grab this chair and we'll kind of distribute it out. I'll put 2 of them around this table. Let's pull them a little tighter in so they're not in the way of each other too much. Very good. And then top view, Shift D, rotate them 180 degrees. Holy Moses, we did not want to do that. Back to that layer. I did something wrong there. Shift D, rotate 90 or 180. Let me redo that. Okay, back to that layer. Rotate them around. Perfect. Alright, we kind of separate them a little bit more. Give them some random rotation. Nobody puts the chairs around the table. Super perfect. Let's be honest. Alright, now let's see what they look like in our house. Not bad, not bad. So you can see a little bit of detail goes a long way, and it's looking pretty good. All right, now so let's add some detail to the kitchen area here. We're gonna have kind of a counter with some drawers and stuff, and maybe a sink, and we'll be adding some materials back here later too. So just hit number pad 5 to go to orthographic view and zoom in on here, just to kind of see what we have to work with. All right. I'm thinking I'll just start with a basic cube. So I'm going to make this a separate object. Shift A, add in a cube, scale it down, put it back against the wall, scale along the X, kind of move it to be centered, scale along the X a little bit more. All right. Let's move it upwards then too. And that should be a pretty good height, I think. Kind of sink it in there just a little bit around the wall. All right. Now there's kind of a countertop, so I'm just going to Shift D that face, scale it along the Y to kind of make it come out a little bit as that counter lip, and then extrude it upwards a little bit. So you get that a little bit more detail in there. Okay. And now I'm going to do, well, let's do some of the counters, okay, because that'll be fun. I might want to separate this top piece here. I'm just going to hit L on that And I guess it's already technically separated inside the object, so that'll be okay. Never mind me. Okay, so now let's put in, let's see, some drawers. Maybe 3 cuts. 3 or 4. I think 3. 3 would be a good amount. It looks about right. Okay, so this one is going to kind of be, whoops. This one's going to kind of be a washing machine here. So I'm just going to, what is it called? I'm sorry. Inset. That's right. Inset here. And scale along the Z a little bit more. Scale it up a little bit. And then I'm going to kind of make it a door. So to do that, I'm just going to hit Y to separate it. Kind of pull it back in there a little bit. Okay, I'll extrude it forward then. Alright. And then scale the whole thing down just a little bit. Okay. Alright. And then I'll extrude it back. So you can kind of see where, like, it's sitting in there, in the wall a little bit. Alright? Little details like this, you know, might not be super realistic close up. I'm going to kind of give that a little edge there then, too. But, they add a lot from a distance. Alright, so then it kind of needs to also have, like, a handle opening up here where the door's down here. This is, like, the whole unit, I guess. So I'm going to do this. And I'll do that one more time. And then like before on the oven, I'm going to give it kind of a crease right there. So I'm just going to grab that and extrude, scale on the Shift Z. We need to turn off proportional editing for this. Scale on the Shift Ed. I kind of pull it back a little bit. There you go. So some nice details for our fridge there. And that's looking pretty good. Alright, so let's add in just kind of a few drawers and whatnot to add some detail. Like I said, not worrying too much about realism, and just giving it some detail that will be seen from a distance. So Control R, let's put in a cut, and let's just kind of bring it over there, here too, bring it over there, and then, let me see, I kind of want to grab this and hit Y to separate it, so I can then put my drawers right in that plane there. Let me, I need to kind of get the right angle on that so my cut will go over that face. It doesn't want to. It doesn't want to split that face for some reason. Interesting. Well, what I'm going to do is just Control I, hide everything else, and now I can cut that face. So I'm going to put 3 drawers, so I'll just give it 2 cuts. And then you can Option H to unhide everything back now. And for these, I'm just going to inset them a bit. So inset a little bit, do this, well, yeah, inset a little bit. They have to be done separately. I was just thinking maybe I could combine them into one, but no, you have to do them separately. Inset them a little bit. And now I can grab them each, change it to individual origins. And now when I scale on the Z, I can scale them all individually. Like so. And then extrude them back to be drawers. So there you go. You got some nice drawers. They'll add some variation there. And over here, we'll add some more drawers. So I'm kind of going to do the same thing where I extrude this. Whoops, not extrude. Inset it. Well, extrude and scale, I guess, works too. We'll do that. And then I'm going to hit Y to separate that, and then Control R. We need to try and put some cuts on that. Need to hide everything else. So I can do that. And then Control R, 2 cuts. Option H, bring everything back. Awesome. Now I'm just hitting I to inset it a very small amount. I'm holding Shift because the inset is going to do way too much otherwise. So just insetting them a little bit, grabbing them all, scaling them along the Z again. Now maybe I'll give like this one, for example, just half a drawer there. And this one could be the same thing, only on this side, just to give it some variation. So we'll do something like that. And extrude those back. Just kind of helps with the modern house design to do something like that. And just kind of makes it look cool. Gives the eye something to look at. So same thing here now. We got one more to do. Extrude it. Scale it in a little bit. Hit Y. And then Control I to hide. Control R. Give it 2 cuts. And I think the bottom one will be a big drawer here, and then I'll do 2 smaller ones here and here. So, yeah, I'll inset this one just a little bit. Inset this one just a little bit. And then inset this one just a little bit. Scale them all along the Z a little bit, like you guessed. And then pull that over to that half. Pull that over to that half. And then that one, and that one. Not you. Thank you. Option H. Let's unhide that and then do that one more time. Just so I kind of see in relation how far back I need to go. Something like that. Looks good. Very good. Oh, one thing I think I just messed up on is this one can't really be drawer-ified like this if I'm going to be putting the sink back there. So, yeah, I might have to move those drawers. Something look kind of weird about having a sink. So this top one will be not a drawer. I'll just hit F on that to make it not a drawer. And now I want to recalculate the normals. And I still need to flip this one, I think. There we go, because it just wasn't acting normal. Now it's normal. Okay, so I'm going to put a sink over here in our counter area. So zooming over here, just Control R, get that counter board selected there, right there. Drag it over like so. Grab that top face, inset it, scale it along the Y. All right, grab it along the Shift Z so we can kind of frame where we want that sink to be, right about there, and just extrude it downwards. We need to grab that. Nope, that face too. And we'll just delete that face. Yeah, that looks good. So we have our sink right there. Let me try and select. Thank you. It looks like I have another face in the way here. I do. Is this? What am I seeing here? I can't really tell. Can't really tell what I'm seeing. It doesn't really matter because, let me hide this here real quick so I can see it better. Oh yes, I still have this face here. It doesn't really matter because, you won't be seeing it, but, just in case, we'll put it in there. So Alt H, whoops, I'm sorry, Option H, to bring that up. Oh, here it is. Duh. It's the other side of the counter. I'm just gonna go top view. And Control R to, well, actually I can just inset this like I did the other side. Inset it, and you kind of face it over that, scale it down, and just kind of work it over over our previous hole there. Scale on the Y, match it up right in there perfectly. Awesome. And now I can just delete that face. So now, when I come out of it, you can see we have this. I need to delete the back end of this drawer as well. Right there. But just kind of cleaning up the faces a little bit, making it look good, nice. I can scale the sink in just a little bit there along the Shift Z to hide that seam there. Right about there. And that looks pretty nice. So, now it goes to wherever you want to add as much detail inside here. I kind of put a little shelf up here. So scale that down, scale on the X. I'm just kind of copying what I did because I know it worked. Okay. Scale on the X. Like so. It's not coming through there, is it? It is. Alright, grab you, pull you back, and grab that face and pull it out. Kind of a counter shelf. Up here, below that window. And now it's just about putting in some details. For example, a little faucet here. So Shift S, cursor to selected. Shift A, add in a circle. Let's scale that circle down. Go to vertice select mode. Scale that circle down. Alright, good. Extrude it up. Okay, good. Extrude it, scale it in. So basically, a basic faucet It's super simple. Something like that. The whole thing might be a little big. Scale the whole thing down a little bit. Scale on the Z a little bit. And then what I did for this is a little modeling tip for you guys. Hit Z to go into wireframe. Put your cursor right around here. And I'm going to use the spin tool. So by selecting these vertices there, choosing spin, you can see we get that nice curve in there. So that's perfect. Now I want to move my cursor down a little bit further, extrude this out to about there, and then spin it around again. So spin again, and there you go. So basic little faucet, super easy to make, and it's pretty good looking. I'll recalculate the normals on it. Shading, recalculate. And yeah, I mean, you could go into more detail now if you wanted to select this, Shift D, pull it over, extrude it up. You know, this could be like a little lever there, and do as much of that as you want. Just little things for your eye to see inside your building. I did accidentally turn a lot to smooth. I want that to be flat. And I would just select these individually to be smooth. Smooth faces. No, those can't be smooth. They look bad. That looks fine for now. Maybe just the faucet there. Smooth vertices. Well, we got smooth faces. Okay, yeah, that looks pretty good. Alright, so I'm going to quick show you guys how to do a few plates and bowls, but besides that, I'm going to leave it up to you to do as much of that as you desire. So for a few quick plates and bowls, super easy. Drop your cursor down in there. We're going to add in a circle. Leave it at 12. That's fine. Tab into edit mode. Scale our way down. Extrude it up. Scale it up. Kind of come up a little bit. And extrude it up. Scale it up just a little bit more. Like that. Okay. I'm just going to add a solidify modifier. Thickness is going to be something thin. Let's pull it up a little bit. I need to add a face to the center there as well. Hit F for face. Okay, and then also recalculate this, because usually when you extrude a circle, you need to recalculate the vertices. Yes, I did. Smooth it. Alright, there is our plate. It's a little too thick. Let's just give it a 0.001. Not minus, just a solid 0.001. And then added one more modifier, array modifier. Make it a 1.1 along the Z, and then take out the X factor. And that's too much, just so it looks like it's stacked nicely like so. And give it a stack of plates. So there you have it. Some plates, neatly stacked. Kind of tuck them back there, like so. And you could use this a few times in different places. Kind of put some up here on the shelf. Just different ways to spread detail around without really spending your life on it. That's important. You know, you can't spend too much time on details, but you also want to make it look good. So you kind of have to find a balance. And then blah, pull those vertices up. We have some bowls. Super simple. But it's easy and adds a lot. So yeah, I'm just doing some things like that, placing them around. Let's place some bowls down in here. Looking good, looking good. Let's do a few big bowls down here. Scale them up a bit. The resolution might need to be a little bigger if we're going to do that, but I'm just going to kind of tuck them back there so you don't really see them. And there's only going to be, say, 2 of those. Looks good. I could actually just throw in a subsurf on that. And there, problem solved. Smooth shading. Is that selected? Smooth shading. Okay. And that is looking very, very nice. So besides that, you can put some flower plants, some cups. I'll just throw a cup in there for you guys. Very easy. This is just time consuming, so a little tricky to put it in a tutorial because you can't spend forever on it. I'm sure you guys understand. But at the same time, you can't completely ignore it. So I'm just going to do kind of a fancy little cup here. We'll do something like that. Extrude it down. Extrude scale for the base. And then extrude it down. Cool. Hit 5 to just kind of zoom in there. And we have kind of a fancy wine glass. Enable smooth shading. Pull those vertices up a little bit. Make it a little tighter. Awesome. This can kind of be on display up here on this counter. We'll duplicate it. Well, actually, I want to duplicate it here. Well, no, I did the same thing again, didn't I? Control Z. Awesome. Just kind of put it over the origin point there and then duplicate it in object mode. That is what I'm trying to do. I guess I didn't really get over the origin point, but that doesn't really matter. So a few glass cups look good. And you can see from camera view, little details that definitely show up that will add a lot to your final scene. Okay, so that's pretty good with the kitchen. I feel like I've covered that well enough. We have our table and chairs in the center there. A few more little details is going to be the couch, and that will wrap up this portion. I feel like you guys could take it from there. For the couch, just basic cube, scale down. Alright, scale on the X. Okay. Let me see here. Scale along the Z. Pull it up a little bit. So it's kind of a fat cushion here. Alright. Scale along the Z a bit more. Alright, so I'm going to just do this super basic. Tab into edit mode, Control R. Put in a cut right down here. Control R. Put in a cut right down there. And actually, you know what? Control R, just put a cut in the middle. And we'll just mirror this. Just like we did before. To save time. So add in a modify mirror. Clipping. And grab that center line. Meet it up nicely. Okay, so a few basic feet maybe on this couch. And maybe the backing as well. So first off, I'm just going to go front view here. And kind of extrude this. Extrude it up. And then kind of extrude it and rotate it around. So it's kind of a nice little hangover edge here. Alright. Something like that kind of looks good. I guess. Not being picky, as you can tell. Let me hit 5 to make that easier to see. Smooth. And we'll leave it at flat for now. And now I'm just going to Shift D this. Rotate it 9 degrees along the... let's go X. Yeah, along the X. Pull it back into the back here and extrude it up as our backing for our couch. Looking good. I'm just going to add in a few more cuts here and here, here and here. Pull that corner edge in nicely like so. And you can see already we have what you would consider a low poly couch. For the feet, I feel like I'm just going to grab this, Shift D it, scale it along the Y. Okay, scale on the X a little bit too. And it's just going to be like your typical feet. Coming down there like so. Shift D it and pull it to the back. And we have some feet for our couch. Now, if you wanted to get it really fancy, you would do some sculpting on this couch. But, as you might have been able to tell, I don't need to be fancy. It's going to be so much in the background here that I don't feel like it's going to be a problem. It's more like just seeing something back there, as you can tell in this little look here, than really needing it to be super realistic looking. I still might throw on a subsurf modifier to it and square up some of these corners still, but that's about as far as you need to go, I would say. Okay, And then right there as well. And then on the ends here too. Yep. Looks pretty good. Okay. So I can make that smooth shading now. And there is our sofa, you could call it. I guess that's what you're supposed to call it. Okay, and then I also had kind of a simple coffee table in front of it. I feel like you guys probably know how to do that by now, though. So there you have it, guys. There's some nice details added to our scene. One more thing, let's put the overhanging lamp on top here. Let's scale this all up a little bit, not the floor, but let's scale it up just a little bit. Looks good. Kind of a lamp coming down from the ceiling here. You might have noticed it in my finished render. So I'm just going to add in a cone. We'll make it a cylinder. Pull it over the light, and that looks good. Just a little huge, I'd say. Top view, hit Z so we can see what we're doing. Alright, that looks pretty good. Give it just a little bit of a cone-like look. Something like that. Okay, maybe pull that up just a little bit. Okay, and then we need just 2 rods kind of hanging it from the ceiling. So for that, I'll just click there, Shift S, cursor to selected, Shift add another circle, scale it way down, extrude it up, continue scaling it because it's still way too big. And let's scale it along the Z. So we have a nice little rod that takes it all the way to the ceiling. Alright. Grab that again and duplicate it to the other side. There we have it. Now I don't want the faces on the end of this. X delete that face. And X delete that face. Smooth shading for that. And that looks pretty good. I also have like a little cable coming down to that. And you guys could add that if you wanted. Looks like we need to pull that wall down a little bit back there. Grab that top edge, pull it down. But there you have it, guys. I feel like I covered the details, enough of them, anyways, that you should be good to go. One thing now that still needs to be done in the modeling is the windows. So I'll do that now. I just realized I keep slapping my mouth like that. I know some of you guys hate that, so I apologize to do it. My mouth starts getting dry. My throat gets getting a little sore. I've been going on for a while like this, but I'm fine. Don't worry about me. So let me grab yeah, these inside this, just basically these two is all we need. Shift D that and extrude it down, pulling the glass to the floor. Alright, there's a good sheet of glass for that. And then all along here, this is all glass. So I'm not going to get into details. I did a little bit more detail in mine, kind of shaping a door. But I don't have to do it for this, because you won't really need it. And if you want it, you could always add it later. So then I'm going to grab just that vertex there and pull it all the way down. Very cool. Just kind of closing yourself off on the inside with the glass. Alright guys, so I hope you're having fun. I'm having a blast. This is a lot of fun creating. I enjoyed it the first time, and I'm actually enjoying it the second time as well. Yeah, so let's call it there. You can see we have a decent amount of details inside there, and you can add more if you want. But that'll do it for part 2, guys. And part 3 is going to be the materials and rendering. So that's where our scene just comes to life and starts to look really amazing. So that'll do it for me. I'll see you guys in part 3, and goodbye.